Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, June 2nd, 2010, and now the news. Back in 1930, General Motors decided to get into the locomotive business by buying the Electromotive Company. It later put GM Design in charge of styling its locomotives, and it came out with iconic designs that helped define the American landscape. Fast forward to 2005, when GM was in the throes of its historic meltdown and it sold off Electromotive. Now Caterpillar is buying the famous locomotive manufacturer and will compete head-to-head with General Electric, the only other manufacturer in the United States. And CAT sees big business for these big brutes in China and in India. You know, that strike Honda had in China may be a sign of things to come. Reuters reports that automakers in China are now facing a younger generation of workers who are not as compliant and docile as their older counterparts. They're more urban and better educated and do not have farm jobs to fall back on, so they're demanding better pay. Even more telling, they're not all that satisfied with the government union that represents them. Bloomberg reports that the strike at Honda may represent the tip of the iceberg and that manufacturers are going to have to get used to paying higher wages. Even so, workers in China make so much less than their counterparts in the West or in Japan that even with big raises, they'll still have a huge advantage in labor costs. Audi is showing off a flex-fuel Audi A5 at the Challenge Bibendum, a competition sponsored by Michelin that's taking place in Brazil this week. The Autoline Daily crew ran across one of Audi's development engineers who explains why the company is developing cars to run on ethanol.
Because the Brazilian market is a pure ethanol market with E100. So to stay in the market, to be well prepared for the market, it is necessary to show that we are able to run the engine with ethanol 100. And there, in this special car, there's a flex fuel engine mounted, and this engine is able to run even with gasoline and with ethanol as well.
You have to wonder if Audi would ever consider selling a flex fuel car in the American market, but it seems to be putting all its emphasis on diesels, at least for the time being. Is dumping the Mercury brand a smart move for Ford? Good question. According to at least one source, it could be the right thing to do. Auto Remarketing reports that analysts at Edmunds predict most customers will stick with the blue oval once Mercury is gone. 46% of Mercury buyers already cross-shop Ford. Dropping the brand could eliminate a distraction and free up marketing dollars that could be used more effectively elsewhere. Speaking of that money, the company also spends more on incentives to move Mercurys than Fords, and Kelley Blue Book says Fords hold their value better than Mercurys. Auto Remarketing also reports that the latest consumer lead index from Cars.com shows that sales leads for Toyotas have declined nearly 5% compared to the same time last year. Surprisingly, consumer interest in Honda also dropped almost 11%. But Hyundai is storming up the charts. Its sales leads were up a whopping 149%. Interestingly, Land Rover was the only brand to top Hyundai, up nearly 163%. And along with Toyota and Honda, Jeep, Mercury, Dodge, and Chrysler were all down anywhere from about 34 to 71%. Last November, Ford launched a website that gave future Ford Fiesta owners the chance to customize their vehicles with custom vinyl graphics. It proved to be so popular that Ford will soon offer them on all of its vehicles. Over 50 designs are available at FordCustomGraphics.com. Just click on the vehicle you want, note what color it is, and the website will show you how the graphics will look on that car. You can then print it out, take it to the dealer, and have him put them on your car. The graphics range from $200 to $1,200. The Mustang and F-150 graphics are available right now. Others will follow at a later date. Just to prove to you we do cover the global automotive industry, Chinese automaker Chery broke ground on a new assembly plant in Inner Mongolia. You heard me right, Mongolia. According to Wards, the company considers the area important to its long-term success because the region is a big market for SUVs and pickups. Chery plans to initially make auto parts and then later assemble SUVs and pickups with capacity projected at 300,000 units. One of the hottest sedans in the market right now is the Hyundai Sonata, and a key reason it's so hot has to do with the way it looks. Coming up next, a styling analysis of the car from one of the top executives in the company.
Introducing Bridgestone's third generation of run-flat tires with groundbreaking new Bridgestone technologies. Bridgestone run-flat tires offer improved ride comfort, lower rolling resistance, and improved wear while giving you the peace of mind and comfort you need.
Hyundai is maxed out right now when it comes to selling the Sonata. It's one of the best looking sedans on the market. But what is it about the design that makes it look so good? I got one of the big bosses at Hyundai to give me his styling analysis. We're going to give you a styling analysis of the brand new Hyundai Sonata, and who better to do that than John Krafcik, the CEO of Hyundai Motors America. Great to have you doing this, John, but walk us through this. What really works from a styling standpoint on this car?
So, John, one of the things we did with this car, along with the Tucson that just came to market a couple of months ago, is we're introducing this new design language. We call it Fluidic Sculpture. And you really get a sense for the idea behind those two words as you look at the front of the car and you see how this kind of wave-like, water-like form echoes its way down into the grille in what we call a dark chrome finish.
I love that, how you continuously take that line right off the hood and down into the grille.
So you get that ripple or wave effect here. We think that's very nice, and we found it's difficult to photograph. I don't know how it's going to come out on video. You really have to see this car in person.
Looks good in person.
Absolutely. In side view, I think, though, is where you get a lot of the sense of the drama and the excitement in this design. There are really three key lines in the car. There's this beautiful line that runs through the door handles, kind of an upward sweeping spear.
Which really gives some motion to
Doesn't it? Yeah, it's very emotional, and that is very sculptural. And then the other thing we've done, which has never been done before in a production car in our industry, is we've taken the chrome belt strip all the way to the front headlamp. So this runs in a straight line all the way back to the C-pillar.
Most cars, this would start at the mirror on the door and run backwards, but taking it this far just adds a bit more drama to the styling.
It adds drama, it gives some sense of visual length, and it's an interesting thing to do with we have what's called a side view cut line here, where the hood actually shuts inside view as opposed to in plan view, and we think that design element works really, really well together. The thing that most people notice about this car, though, because it's something only a few designs have done so far, is the very fast sloping backlight and C-pillar. We've seen this before on just a few other cars, Mercedes CLS and the Passat CC. It's something you're going to see, I think, in a lot more mid-sized cars in the future. What's interesting about the way we've been able to do this is, in those cars, the rear seat package is really compromised. In the Sonata, you can get in there and there's still plenty of room. It's an interesting approach we've taken with the design to get the rear seat room you need along with a really fast-looking backlight.
Always a good sign of design when you can pull off those two things. So show me a bit about the back end of this car, John.
Yeah, so in some ways we saved the best for last here. We're really excited about the rear end of this view, and in particular, this particular model, which is the Sonata SE. It is our sport tune model, unique chassis and suspension. It's got a couple of extra horsepower enabled by these beautiful chrome-tipped dual exhausts, which we think really complements the look of the car very, very well.
Well, John, it's been very brief, but thanks so much for giving us an overview of the styling of the new Sonata.
Yeah, my pleasure, John. Great to be here.
Hyundai could probably sell more Sonatas in the American market if they could build more, but their plant in Alabama is working flat out on full overtime. Hey, don't forget to tune in to Autoline After Hours tomorrow night when our guest will be John DeCicco, an environmentalist, formerly with the Environmental Defense Fund, now a senior lecturer at the University of Michigan. What does the auto industry have to do to make itself clean and sustainable? We'll be diving into all that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern on Autoline After Hours. And that is it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.